Mutual masturbation. You might not have heard those two words together since middle school sex ed, but folks, I'm here to bring it back because not only is this a personal favorite of mine, it is a venerable gold mine of closeness, of information, and of pleasure for you and a partner, whether you live near or far. Hi, I'm Caitlin V, and me and occasionally this cat are bringing you great sexual and relationship content every single week here on YouTube and every single day over at Instagram and sometimes on TikTok as well. Really, it's a venerable fountain of information and advice over here. And in this video, I am going to break down what makes mutual masturbation so awesome, what it is, why it's hot, why more and more and more and more couples are experimenting with it, and exactly what you need to do to get it right. Now, what is mutual masturbation? This super dry sounding combination of terms. Mutual masturbation is simply when you masturbate with more than just yourself. Often it is masturbating with a partner. Often it is masturbating with a partner while they also are masturbating. Touching yourself in a pleasurable way while another person also touches themselves in a pleasurable way. Also, it is perfect for all kinds of scenarios. Long distance relationships, times when you can't be in the same room as your lover, needing to social distance, dealing with low libido, dealing with trouble orgasming, having premature ejaculation, dealing with an injury, or just having had a baby. You can do it in the same room. You can do it on a phone call. You can do it on video or FaceTime, or you can even do it with your best friend under a full moon. Speaking from experience here. There is, however, a few important things that you have got to keep in mind, because even though mutual masturbation is hard to screw up, if you don't do it right, it can lead to a really awkward encounter that can cause all of our shame gremlins to come out and wreak havoc on our mental health. But if you do get it right, you will open up a treasure chest of pleasure and knowledge about yourself and your partner that you would have otherwise never known. And the good news is that it doesn't require too many bells or whistles. All you need is the right mindset, safety, and a little courage in order to pull it off. But honestly, the number one barrier to mutual masturbation is definitely shame in the form of self-consciousness. It does take a lot of courage to pleasure yourself in front of your partner. I mean, after all, most of us were taught that masturbation is the single most shameful activity we could ever engage in, and that we should share it with no one ever, lest they know that we are a dirty, sinful piece of rotting flesh. I'm going to teach you how to overcome that hurdle in just a second. But first, here are the 6 major benefits of mutual masturbation. Benefit number 1, it is safe. That's why we talked about it in health class. Mutual masturbation is the safest way to have sex with another person because it does not require the exchange of bodily fluids or even body touching. So while you're waiting on your STD test results from Let's Get Checked to come back, this is a safe way to stay sexually connected. And yes, both phone and video sex count as safer sex. Number 2, it is educational. It is really hard to tell another person how you like to be pleasured. Way easier to just show them what you like. Reason number 3, it makes for phenomenal foreplay. You can use mutual masturbation to pique your arousal, to get super turned on, to get her super hot and ready, and you can go straight from mutual masturbation into something like penetrative sex. This is an excellent option for women who have a hard time reaching orgasm during traditional PIV because she can get herself as close to possible to orgasm, or maybe even give herself an orgasm, and then you go straight into penetration at the very last minute, leading to an orgasm through penetration, or perhaps a second or third orgasm through penetration. Number 4, it is easy and adaptable for all people. Mutual masturbation is awesome for one person cannot have penetrative sex or isn't super into penetrative sex at this moment. Maybe because they just had a baby, maybe because they've suffered an injury, maybe because they are differently abled and sex is harder for them than the other person at a given time. It's almost always easier to have sex with yourself than to have sex with another person. So if one person is feeling a lot hornier than the other, like first thing in the morning when your husband wants to have sex, but you just had a nightmare about getting stranded in a haunted house somewhere in Budapest, and it's gonna be really hard for you to reach orgasm, but you could probably reach orgasm by yourself if you use the vibrator, problem solved. It's also great if you tend to not last super long in bed, which brings me to reason number 5, which is if you are working on lasting longer in bed, mutual masturbation allows you to practice all of the techniques that I teach you in my course, Come When You Want, which you have, right? If you're working on lasting longer in bed, you obviously have looked into my Come When You Want course, my masterclass that is 98% effective at helping men last longer in bed. And if you haven't looked into it, look into it right now, because in this course, I teach you a bunch of techniques that are amazing for helping you learn all about your arousal, where your point of no return is, and how you can use self-pleasure or masturbation to actually extend your stamina and last longer when you are with your partner. And using the techniques in Come When You Want in mutual masturbation is a super fun and pleasurable way to invite your partner into the work that you are doing to last longer in bed. And if you don't have Come When You Want yet, no problem at all. There's a link in the description. Number 6, mutual masturbation demystifies and de-shames pleasure. It is a great way to bring a couple closer together, and it helps reduce uncertainty in what your partner likes and how they like it. So yes, it might be out of your comfort zone at first, but just the very act of masturbating in front of another person can be so healing. You can do it in front of your lover, and in the same way that hearing that your genitals are beautiful or huge or juicy or delicious can be such a healing experience, surviving the risk of sharing your pleasure with another person is amazing for melting away shame and stigma. So let's talk now about exactly how to win at mutual masturbation with your partner in 3 simple steps. Number 1, initiation. Somebody's got to do it. How do you initiate mutual masturbation? Well, talk about it. Say, hey baby, I'd love to watch you pleasure yourself. I think that would be super hot. I want to know exactly how you touch yourself. Would you be able to show me? I really want to know exactly how to pleasure you, and the best way for me to learn is by example. See, it doesn't have to be all that complicated. And if you're in a long distance relationship, you can say, hey, I miss touching you and being with you, but I think I figured out the next best thing. Number 2, communicate. Have a conversation about it. This conversation I like to call the safety aspect of this mutual masturbation thing, because it is where you talk about your fears and the obstacles that are preventing you from jumping right in there and just diddling your biscuit right away. Fears like, I'm afraid of you judging me. I'm afraid of looking funny. I'm afraid that you'll find my genitals ugly. I'm afraid that I'm weird and you're gonna find out and you're not gonna love me anymore. A big part of why mutual masturbation brings people closer together is because of the vulnerability they share in this way. So do not skip this step. This is the most crucial step of all. Once you've had that hard conversation, you've established that you are safe for each other, that nobody's going to be judged or made fun of, that this right here is an environment of compassion and unconditional love, then you can, number 3, set the mood. Put on some candles, light some music. Put on some music, light some candles, grab the lube, grab your toys, any other props that you want, have them within reach. And if you are getting down digitally, I recommend setting yourself up beforehand, testing the lighting, testing your angles, because nothing ruins a moment faster than having to figure out the right angle to spotlight your genitals on camera live with your lover. And then I'm gonna give you one more bonus step, number 4, because I just like to deliver. Celebrate. Once you're done, anchor in all of those good feelings by discussing what went right and only what went right. This is the time for you to share things like, babe, I just love the way that your body looked when, or wow, it turned me on so much when that happened. Anyways, save the post-game analytics, like what we could have done better, for later. While you're still in the afterglow, that like post-orgasmic, warm, gushy flush of chemicals, that's the time to tell your partner that they are amazing, they looked amazing, they smelled and tasted, and it was just the most amazing and most magical experience, and you're so grateful to them for sharing it with you. You want to anchor in all of these good feelings, because as soon as that afterglow starts to fade is when those little shame gremlins of like, you're a dirty human for masturbating, start to show up. And we just want to like keep them at bay. And the best way to keep them tampered down is by elevating our celebration and elevating each other so loudly and comprehensively that there's no room for those shame gremlins to even show up. And this is a good place for me to remind you that if you've ever dealt with those shame gremlins, you are not alone, and you should consider subscribing to this channel where I deliver content every single week on how to overcome the gremlins and have the best sex of your flippin' life. All right, time to address a very important question. You might be asking, should we watch porn while masturbating together? Because I watch porn when I masturbate, so if I'm gonna masturbate with someone else, do I bring the porn with me? Certainly bringing in porn can help with awkwardness because it can feel a little bit more normal. It normalizes what you're doing. We're having sex, they're having sex. We're touching ourselves, they're touching ourselves. But I always suggest trying mutual masturbation first without porn, because porn is sort of like a third person in the room. It brings a lot, but it also forces you to manage a lot. So instead of now being totally focused on yourself and your body, your partner and their body, now there's this whole other thing distracting both of you and demanding your attention. So keeping your attention on yourself and on your partner at first so that you don't miss something. Like, what if they stop breathing and they're really, really uncomfortable? What if they start to go into that like shame closed up uncomfortable space, but you're too busy watching the lady on screen with her big old titties bouncing around? You are gonna miss something really important that's happening right here in the room. Which reminds me, what should you do if your partner isn't super interested in mutual masturbation or they feel really, really shy? Well, that's where the safety conversation comes in. Talking out your fears and listening to each other on this is vital, even if you don't ever end up doing it. Say you bring up the conversation, you have the safety talk, and you ultimately decide that they're not comfortable doing this and they're just not gonna do it. Phenomenal. You had a conversation that you wouldn't have otherwise have, and therefore are closer than you would have otherwise been. Congratulations. If your partner's on the fence and she doesn't know how she feels about it, you can warm her up by saying, hey, would you like to maybe watch me self-pleasure? Maybe you can make out with me or like tweak my nipples while I pleasure myself. And then if it feels good, you could join me. You can get really creative. And if she tries that and it's really not for her, then stop and do something else. No shame. Congratulate and celebrate each other just for trying. And of course, you can specifically address any objections that she has. Like, I'm worried that you're gonna think my genitals look weird. You can say, babe, I've seen your genitals and I think that they are so gorgeous. Another concern that you might have is, what if I masturbate in a weird way? What if I masturbate in the prone position? Or what if I do something that's like not how people are supposed to do it? Well, chances are that you don't masturbate in a weird way. People masturbate in so many different ways. We have people who hump pillows and mattresses and use toys and don't use toys and hold their breath and tense their body and everything else in between. It is actually truly amazing how many ways humans have figured out how to get themselves off. And if your partner is too close-minded or they're not willing to accept who you are and how you self-pleasure, well, I'm not sure it's a good idea for you to open yourselves up sexually to them anyways. You can definitely use that communication and the safety conversation to sort of suss out how they're going to feel, share your self-conscious thoughts, and remember that as soon as we share our fears, they actually tend to just begin to melt away immediately, especially if they are met with love and tenderness. All right, mutual masturbation. Let's bring that out of the closet and start playing with it again. It is a wonderful way to get closer to your partner without even touching. You get to experience your pleasure, experience their pleasure, experience this amazing, massive pleasure that grows between you, whether you're in the same room, talking over the phone, or getting down digitally. It can be a steamy part of foreplay. It can help women reach orgasm, and it can help men who are trying to last longer in bed by combining mutual masturbation with the techniques that I teach in Come When You Want. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been awesome to get handsy with you today. Make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you here again soon. Bye-bye.